Hello and welcome to my channel Champagne and Stitches. My name is Sarah and this is Flosstube number 2. I hope you enjoy what you see and you stick around. So welcome back to my Flosstube. As I said, this is Flosstube number 2. I thought today I'd do a finish parade for you with my finishes from last year, from 2024. But before we start, I'd just like to say some thank yous. So for anyone who is returning from my first video, especially if you liked or you commented or subscribed to my channel, thank you very, very much. And I'd also like to say a massive thank you to Christy Hines from the Happiest Stitches on Earth, who gave me a shout out on their latest Flosstube, which I do have to say just made my day. So thank you very much, Christy, for that. So let's start with my finishes. My first finish from last year was this Pansy sampler from J&J Designs. This is a very old cross stitch. I don't have any information about it. There was no information on the pattern. I would have bought it as a kit, probably back in the 90s. So it's stitched with the kitted fabric and the kitted floss. And I made myself stitch it up last year. I told myself I wasn't allowed to buy any more cross stitch until I'd finished this one and one other cross stitch that you will see later on that I had had for a very, very long time. So that's my first finish, Pansy sampler from J&J Designs. My second finish is slightly different. As I said in my introduction last week, I really enjoy applique, and one of my favourite designers is Lynette Anderson, and I've done quite a few of her big quilts. So this is one that I finished, and it's probably too big to get all in the camera, so we will record this separately later so you'll be able to see it all. But this is what it looks like. Hopefully you could see that. I'm just going to pop it on the table for a minute. So this, sorry, blocking myself out. This is Seaside Town, and this was a button block of the month from Lynette. So you would complete one of the blocks every month, and then at the end of it you had all the instructions to stitch it all together into the quilt. So I have made a few changes on it. It had some of these seahorses in the borders, but I didn't like them very much. Also, they were quite hard to do, so I thought I would change that. And I stitched some different borders, border blocks. I think I just popped these ones in the corners. I'm not sure that they were supposed to be there. And I probably made some more of these little blocks to go into the corner. So that one is my Seaside quilt from Lynette Anderson. So let me just put that over there out of the way. Okay, my next finish, again, is something slightly different from cross stitch. This is an embroidery. So this is from stitchdoodles.com. This was their woodland stitch along, which meant that every week they released a few of the motifs to stitch. So I'm not sure of the order, but you would end up stitching sort of the 3 similar mushrooms, and you might stitch the squirrel in one week, and then the following week you would have some of the grasses that were the same and maybe some of the flowers that matched. So every week you had 3 or 4, I think, different little motifs to stitch. I really enjoyed doing this one. I often sit in my car before I go to work for a little while, and I like to have something to stitch in the car. So this was my car stitch. last year, which helped me to keep on track with it. So I did actually finish this one on time. And I've also completed a very similar one, which was a year inspired by William Morris, which I gave to my mum for Christmas. And I didn't take a photograph of it before I gave it to her, but she was very pleased with it. So, and it looked good. And I finished that one in a hoop and put a proper backing on it as well, so it looked okay when I gave it to her. So that is my woodland stitch along from stitchdoodles.com. So my next finish, I don't have the actual finished cross stitch. It was this one from last year, 2023 advent calendar from the Historical Sampler Company, and they included 3 of these little mini kits to stitch up. So this was the first one that I did. So and I did finish it as it is in the picture. You were provided with the backing materials, the little easel to put it on, and we did have it out for Christmas this year, and I've packed it away in the Christmas boxes, which only went up into the attic yesterday. So had I been more organised, I would have realised I'd have been able to pull it back out for today. But as I say, I did finish it as it's finished here. So it looks the same basically, except for the fact that I've got some little glue spots on mine, which, you know, lessons learnt. So next time I'll know to be a little light-handed with the glue when I'm sticking things down. So that was my next finish. After that came another one of Lynette Anderson's big quilts. I say big quilts, she actually does double bed-size quilts, so these are sort of not that big, but I suppose bigger than your average cross stitch. This is a winter playground. Again, I don't have this one because I've left this one at my mum's house, and it was actually my mum who bought it for me for Christmas. And I was determined, I think this one and the Seaside quilt, I had stitched most of the blocks up, and then it had just sat there from the year before. I think I'd finished them both, but I just needed to actually get them all stitched together and fully finished. And I wanted to do that last year. So last year I made sure that I finished both of those. And I have several others waiting for me to start, so they will keep me busy. But I absolutely love these designs by Lynette Anderson. So I've no doubt you will see more of them. I'm actually doing a table topper this year, Christmas table topper. So you'll see that hopefully on and off as I catch up with my what I've been stitching in my videos. So that was a winter playground by Lynette Anderson. The next one probably needs no introduction. You will have seen this one, I'm sure, again and again and again. This is obviously Lola Crow's Deadly Aquarium stitch along. So I had seen a few Lola Crow stitches. I'd seen the Haunted Library and Greenhouse of Oddities on lots of Flosstubes, and I really loved them, but obviously I came too late to join in with those stitch alongs. So I made sure that I was ready and waiting last year to start Lola Crow's next stitch along, which was this one, Deadly Aquarium. I love this. I love everything about it. Every week when I stitched the next thing, I thought that's my favourite, but a couple that really like. Love this little guy here with his little sharp teeth. I loved stitching these. The seagulls were brilliant, and it really came together. They're hard work, her stitch alongs. There are a lot of stitches in them to keep going. I think the drops were, I think they were weekly, with a couple of extra weeks just to where you could catch up where you didn't have a drop, but they were chunky. So I was really pleased. On the whole, I kept up week by week, and I certainly finished within a week or so of the stitch along finishing. And as you would have seen if you watched my whip parade last week, I've gone back to Stitch Greenhouse of Oddities, although that one will be put away when the new stitch along comes out in the next couple of months, which I can't wait for. So that one I stitched on 32 count even weave in aquamarine from Lakeside Needlecraft, using all the called for DMCs, except for I did switch out, so in the skull, and I think in this fish here, and a few other places, I did switch it out for glow in the dark thread, which was a beast to stitch with, not my favourite. So that is Lola Crow's Deadly Aquarium. Okay, the next finish is a fully finish, is this little one here. So this is, this was for my partner Nick for our anniversary, and it is from With Thy Needle and Thread, Key to My Heart, so by Brenda Gervais, and it's very, very dinky. I think he appreciates it. So I stitched this one on Mayflower Mocha 32 count from R&R Reproductions. I used Stash DMCs for this one, so they are variegated. I don't actually know what they are. And then I finished it off with a little key and just a fat quarter, fabric from a fat quarter on the back, and finished it into this little pillow. So I love this, sits in his office. So that's Key to My Heart by Brenda Gervais. My next finish was, and you would have seen this last week very quickly, was Christmas Tiny Town. So there's a couple of tiny towns here. I started Christmas Tiny Town for Christmas in July, and I finished it quite quickly. The tiny towns stitch up so quickly that I really enjoy doing them. So this is on a 32 count Belfast linen, Zweigart Belfast linen, using all the called for flosses, which I think they are a mixture of Classic Colour Works and Weeks Dye Works. And also on here is Halloween Tiny Town, which I started in October for Halloween, and again used all the called for Classic Colour Works and Weeks Dye Works. And both of them are adorable. So they are both of my tiny towns. My next finish after my tiny town, my Christmas tiny town, was this one from the Cotton and Twine subscription box. So this was in their August box. Now I wasn't a subscriber to the boxes, and then I saw this one and I wanted to stitch this, so I subscribed. And what I particularly like about their subscription boxes is that you see what the patterns are before they come out, and you can skip the boxes if you don't like them. So I have kept my subscription, and even though I haven't always got the boxes, because maybe I have so much to stitch that I only really want to get new patterns if I really, really want to stitch them, and I'm able to do that. So I don't miss out, but also I'm not piling up boxes and boxes of patterns that I'm never going to stitch. So this one always comes as a complete kit in the Cotton and Twine sub boxes. You get the fabric, you get the thread that you need. You usually get, I think you get a needle minder every month. You definitely get a sweet treat every month, and a tea bag, which right up my street, although I do wish they'd stop sending me Earl Grey tea bags, because I don't like Earl Grey. It's like perfume dust. I want a proper cup of tea. And they also send you, in the same way as they did the Cotton and Twine, are a sister company to Historical Sampler Company, who did the advent calendar that had the little reindeer snow globe that I finished. So as with that, they send you all the finishing things that you need in the boxes as well. So whilst I haven't finished this one, I do have everything to finish it. So on my Whitgo board for this year, I do have a couple of numbers that will, when they're called, I need to do fully finishes on a couple of my things. So I'm hoping that this will be one of them that I will fully finish. So that is my Halloween from the Cotton and Twine sub box. It's on a 16 count Zweigart. Okay, so my next one, this was a bit of a quick start for me. I heard about a stitch along. I like a stitch along. I thought I want to be part of that. So this is the Climbing Goat Designs Halloween by the Book stitch along. This is on a 28 count fabric flare fabric in cabbage. So it was the called for fabric using the called for DMCs. So this was one, I think they released a character every week, so that they were much smaller, so they were really easy to keep up with, these characters. So I was able to start and finish this one with the stitch along. So I'm not sure who my favourite is. I like them all. So I really like the book as well. So that one is Halloween by the Book stitch along from Climbing Goat Designs. My next finish was I think is my favourite finish from 2024, and this one is Bauble Birds by Boomerang Stitches. Boomerang Stitches is Amity from the Hathaway Stitchers, so she is half of the Hathaway Stitchers, who one of my favourite YouTube channels. So this was another Christmas in July start, and finished it I think November time, so I did get it finished in time for Christmas. And as I said in my Whip Parade last week, I really enjoy Amity's designs. They're really easy to stitch up, and I think they're quite structured so that the stitching goes quite quickly. You get to see a result, and just very geometric. So she's just released some more designs, which I'd quite like to buy. So I think I'm going to make this one. I think to finish this one, I'm going to make it into a panel for a project bag so that I can use it all year round. I can put Christmas stitches in and get to see it all year round. Love this one of my favourites. That's Bauble Birds. Oh, and that was on a 32 count oleander even weave, which was another Lakeside fabric of the month. So another stitch along. This was Threads of Deceit by stitchingly.com. This one actually came with a whodunit mystery that you could read along to. Sadly, I gave up with the reading side of things, but I did keep up with the stitching. So each week you would get a little motif to stitch, and I've no idea who did it. I didn't get that far, I'm afraid, but I did like the idea of it, but I think I just had too many things going on to keep up with the reading. So this is on 32 count vintage wallpaper. Again, another Lakeside needlecraft fabric of the month. And I pulled floss from stash. Absolutely no idea what I used, but they are all variegated threads. So that one is Threads of Deceit from stitchingly.com. So we're almost there. My next one is another one from the Historical Sampler Company. So this was the stitch along for their 2023 Advent box, and I didn't stitch it. I didn't keep up with it in 2023. So I made the decision that what I would do was to do the house border and then the little inner window borders. I would stitch those at the beginning of 2024, and then in December I wanted to stitch all the motifs inside all the boxes. So I did keep up with that on the whole. I had definitely finished by the 24th. I might have even finished this completely by the 23rd. And my favourite little picture, hands down, has to be this little sheep. Just adorable. So that was the 2023 Advent stitch along by Historical Sampler Company. I didn't get the box this year. I didn't get their Advent calendar this year. And I really wish I had, because I watched all the Advent openings and they blew it out of the park. It was an amazing box. They had 6 of the little mini projects to stitch this year, and I'm quite gutted I didn't get some of them because I really, really liked them. So when they come out on the website, I think they bring them out next January, because they brought the 3 stitches that went with this Advent box. They brought them out this year in around the Advent time, maybe January this year. So hopefully they'll do that again next year. I can pick them up, but I'm on the wait list already for the box for 2025, because I don't want to miss out again. So that is the 2023 Advent stitch along. That's on 16 count sage green Zweigart with the DMC that came in the kit. Almost there. My final finish for 2024 was another Stitch Doodles finish. There's January. So this one is a year of doodles. Again, it came on pre-printed fabric like the woodland stitch along, and then I just pulled from stash to complete them. And on the whole, I kept up with this monthly. It certainly never went further out than a month. So I think there were a couple of months, August, I don't think I finished until the end of September, but I caught up and I finished it in December. So that is a year of doodles from stitchdoodles.com. They do lots of these pre-printed fabrics, so makes it quite easy to complete those. And as I said, I've just got a couple of projects that were from 2023. So this was the first stitch that I got from the Historical Sampler Company. This was another stitch along. Home is where the heart is stitch along. This is a Fitzrovia design. So this one I bought as a full kit, and as I say, I finished this one in 2023. So this was stitched on a 16 count white Zweigart Ada, again with the DMC that was provided. So if you're not familiar with Historical Sampler Company, they release their stitch alongs, and you can buy the stitch along on its own, or you can buy the pattern, or you can buy it as a kit, or you can buy a gift box as well. So I would have bought the gift box so that I could get all the goodies that would have come with this, which would have there would have been a needle minder and sweet treats and stitchy goodness. So I would have bought the whole box, little treat for myself. So that is Home is Where the Heart Is. Love that one. And then my final one. So this is the National Trust Centenary Sampler, and this was, as you can see, this was released in 1995. I would have bought this in 1995, and I don't know if I stitched on it before I pulled it back out again and made myself. This was along with the Pansy sampler. This was one that I made myself finish. So I think I stitched this one. And then I thought, before I buy anything else, I am going to go back and finish those two really old ones that I had. So I stitched this one. As you can see, old me, I left the needle in. So this would have been folded up and the needle would have been popped through the corner. And the needle has rusted, but luckily it's, well, at least I had the foresight to put it in the corner of my fabric. So this was on a 14 count Ada. I would have bought it, like I said, in 1995, finished it in 2023. So it took me quite a long time. So that is my last finish to show you today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed those. And I do all the things. So please like, comment, subscribe. And I will be back with my next Flosstube in a week or two when I will show you what I have been stitching in the last couple of weeks.